Sustainability. It's on everybody's lips. We invest in green energy, we use energy-saving light bulbs, and cycle to work instead of using the car. Concerns for biodiversity and the limitations of the planet are necessary if we want to leave the next generation a viable world. In a variety of environments, diverse forms of life exist, which together maintain an equilibrium necessary for our planet. But what about humanity? That too needs diversity in order to survive, and a balance between the essential functions: productive work, care for the successive generations, social work, and personal well-being and development. How do we deal with this social sustainability? Is there enough concern for the sustainability of our human world, taking into account the diversity of roles and needs of the next generation? Let us take, for example, Miriam. She's 38 years old, married, and has 2 young children. She has an interesting job at a bank with nice colleagues and grateful clients. She earns a pretty good income. With her husband David, she has bought a beautiful house, and they both work full-time in order to make the monthly payments. The computer firm where David works has recently relocated to India, so every now and again he has to travel for a week or 2. The care for the family then falls mainly on Miriam. In between, Miriam also tries to visit her mother, who lives in a home for elderly people. Luckily, 2 days a week, she has a household helper, Lena. But still, every now and again she needs to escape from the pressure, and then she practices yoga while a babysitter looks after the children. Sometimes her busy agenda weighs on her, but she has the possibilities to keep things in balance. A good job, social contacts, help with the household work, and there is also space for personal growth. Lena is also 38 years old, married, and has 2 children and a full-time job as household help. Her work pays little and she has to work at irregular hours. Often she leaves before school hours. Since her husband Salim works full-time in shifts, the both-to-work family combination is difficult, and this is frustrating. As a cleaner, Lena mostly works alone. There are no colleagues and she rarely sees her customers. As a result, she gets little appreciation for her work. In between, she does the shopping for her mother, who is elderly and unwell. They cannot afford a cleaning lady themselves, so Lena hardly has any time left for relaxation or recreation. So, should Lena just work harder so she can pay someone to help her with the household work and look after her mother? But that does not solve the problem. Look, if David's job does not leave time for taking care of the family, Miriam has to step in. She in turn can pass it on to Lena. But if Lena gets overburdened, whom can she call upon? And what happens with the needs of that person? This system cannot go on forever. In our society, care work is not highly valued. The care David and Miriam give to their children or old mother does not even count as work. For them, work has to do with money transactions and computers. Only if Lena helps them and receives a wage is care considered as work. However, people who work in the sector of care work, as a matter of fact, generally earn far less than those who take care of money or computers. This is despite care work being essential for the socio-economic fiber of society. So, it is not because of its content or the social value that something is recognized as work, but only because of the fact that it involves money. What, we may ask? Isn't there something strange about that? Let us look at this from a different perspective. There is the government, all kinds of organizations and companies where people work. And there are the citizens who have to be able to take up different roles. The government organizes some of these roles, but does so with the money it collects through the taxing of labor. Those that have an employment receive an income. On this income, people pay taxes, and consequently they build up pension rights. But note, rights. David, who works full-time, once he is old, will have the right to a full pension. But it is the future workers who will have to pay for those rights. So, for a pension system, you not only need rights, but also children. To live comfortably in our old age, we don't only need money, but also young people who learn to work and shoulder the care for their parents. But why does someone who takes care of children and therefore offers an essential contribution to the pension system not build up pension rights for themselves? Only if you educate children as a paid job is this given recognition. But then again, not too much. Less, for example, than whoever works in a bank or a computer firm. So, Work is identified with earning money, but that does not allow everyone who works to keep the balance in his or her life. Neither does it guarantee that all those hard-working people will be looked after properly in their old age. This is a problem that cannot be solved by paid work alone. Care work will always be necessary, but of course in balance with social work and self-work, with nice social contacts and opportunities to develop a wide range of talents. As Lena takes care of David and Miriam's family and gets paid, she pays taxes and so builds her pension rights. But personally, she receives so little recognition and so little pay that sometimes the balance in her life is completely lost. She has little time to look after her own family, but she cannot let someone else help her with her own care work. By the way, she cannot afford to buy a computer either. Do we help Lena to restore her balance by pushing her to work even harder and making more money so she could afford assisted help and the computer? But where does this cascade end? Wouldn't it be better to organize and distribute different types of work in such a way that everyone has access to all types of work and can keep the balance? Shouldn't we look for a valorization of work that allows the diversity of tasks to be distributed more justly? This analysis of work can not only be applied to family care and elderly care, but also to many other situations. People who help children cross the street in front of the school every morning, or help their old neighbor in his vegetable garden while he can tell his life story, or who give people the feeling that they are heard and valued and that their talents are needed, make an invaluable contribution to society. If we would only want to valorize this work by means of a wage, we would turn it into an unaffordable luxury. No company would dream of making a profit on that. And so, it disappears. So, diversity means that the model of work should become richer and more varied than only the one David embodies. Just as biodiversity guarantees the viability of the natural environment, so the diversity of talents and roles guarantees the viability of the social fiber of society.